All right, so we want to convert this type of light to a regular bulb. This is the can light, and these squeeze together, come out. And then this whole thing just plugs into a socket there. But the problem is, if I just plugged in a bulb here, there's nothing keeping it up there, and I don't want it just dangling down. And then there wouldn't be anything covering this area right here, the edges. And I can't replace the bulb in this. This is all just one piece. All right, so here it is. And my first thought was to make something to hold this up in there, and then make something else that covers up the bottom like a trim piece. But the more I thought about it, I could reuse these to hang one piece that's the trim and with a hole for this to sit in. So I went ahead and printed out this example for sizing. And that fits in there. That fits in there just like that. I need the hole to actually be up higher. That gives me an idea of the size. And these two rectangles will just come up a little bit higher and have something to attach to this. I made some circles that were the right size. I put some rectangles on the side to show where I need to attach the springs. And originally I thought I would have cylinders coming out of it, until I realized it needs to be a separate piece. Okay, so I've taken these off and printed out a tiny little cylinder that would be a good size for these to fit on. And then I wanted to know what size hole that should fit in. And this one's, I think, 1 millimeter bigger, and it's just way too big. 0.3 millimeters bigger is still loose, and then 0.1 millimeters bigger is perfect. Now I've printed this out, and it didn't print very well here, and I think it's because the angle is about 30 or something degrees, but this fits on here perfectly. And these fit in here perfectly as well. But I discovered when I try to hang this up that these stick out too far. And I also think that since I'm printing these as separate pieces, I might as well make them have something on the end to keep this wire from falling off. Here's the final design. From the top, you can see the pins over there with caps to keep the wire from falling off, and underneath. And that angle is now 45 degrees, so it should print really nicely. Okay. So now I've printed these like this. That is perfect. and looks much better at a 45-degree angle. So let's go see how it looks. There's the grow light dangling, and I just had to put that on there and stick each side of the wires in those slots. And then when you push it up, it kind of just sucks it right up there. And there you go. We did 2 can lights like this, and I think they look pretty good. That one has a gap because of the drywall. That's something we can fix. And so overall, I'm really happy with this project. I mean, I can't really sell these now, or they're not really usable anymore without the springy thing, but I don't know what I would have done with them anyway. And oh, by the way, this is the light that we use, by the way. Looks really high quality, really heavy as well. I also tested the heat, and the plastic doesn't get hot at all, and the bulb itself barely gets hot at all after a few hours. So I think that's going to be fine. So until next time.